I have over 1200 hours in Delta Force. And most of you know me as one of the best solo players in the game. Now I am hooked to the upgraders. I love both games, but one has the potential to be the best extraction shooter ever, and today we will break down every part of both games. Movement, combat, solo mode, audio and visuals, cheaters, player base, quality of life and more. By the end, you will know which of these two games deserves your time in 2025. You are watching TheGrindrr and this is the big comparison. Upgraders versus Delta Force. Just in case any one of you is unfamiliar with, Delta Force is free-to-play first-person extraction shooter with focus on smooth, fast-paced gunplay, operator utilities and potential future in esports. Upgraders is a third-person extraction shooter focused on both solos and trios in visually astonishing maps with tough PvE, which incentivizes players to cooperate and use the proximity chat. Delta Force recently added a solo mode, but it's limited, one map, only on weekends and only during specific hours. Reasoning? Not wanting to split the player base. With over 250k monthly players, that move didn't make sense, and honestly, the community didn't like it either. We wanted more of the solo content. Upgraders on the other hand actively matches solos against solos with queue priority. In 90 hours of total gameplay, I have never encountered a duo or trio in solo queues. What stands out the most in Upgraders is proximity chat. I can be friend, I see you.
You can see me?
Yes.
How do you see me?
The ARGs being a big threat will force you sometimes to rather create a friendship than going for a kill. Shoot the middle! Combine it with emote wheel for actual communication rather than BMing your opponent, and you have great base for making friendships which will last for whole raid or more. And the feeling of losing your gear? It is easily obtainable again in Upgraders, mainly with the infinite free loadouts which are strong enough for you to have fun. The bullet and armor system in Delta Force puts recruit and standard tickets to being useless in the solo mode unless you buy enough gold bullets to stand a chance in the gunfight. With them being limited, the death feels way more drastical than losing your gear in Upgraders. Let's dive a little bit deeper into solo combat. Upgraders offers far more freedom, not just with more maps and modes, but because of how forgiving time to kill and healing systems are. In Delta it was made for squad gameplay, with emphasis on fast-paced gunfights, meaning if you died fast. Small difference for some, but if you get surprised by a camper, you still have time to recover either by repositioning with smoke or just hiding behind cover. There is also a big difference in healing system. In Delta Force, to regain armor and HP you have to repair both helmet and vest, and if you want to heal yourself with the best heals, it's another 5 seconds. Which puts even bigger emphasis on the faster-paced gunfights. In Upgraders, you can finish animation of charging shields under 2 seconds with some extra time to charge them and get a good bandage, recovering 30 to 40% of HP in another 2 seconds. What this means, if you are solo in Delta Force, you move slowly, cautiously, camp important spots, clear your path with utilities as you don't want to be surprised by anyone. Otherwise, you are coming back to lobby. In Upgraders, you can move around the map with a freedom, knowing that even if there is someone holding the corner or camping the loot room, you still have good chances of recovering. When it comes to the guns, the possibilities of weapons, attachments and fluidity of the system as whole, I have to give credit to Delta Force. Gunfights in Delta Force feels more smoother and killing your opponent also feels more rewarding. Possibility of leaning, jiggle peeking, gun handling and the hitboxes feel more clean as opposed in Upgraders, which are currently struggling with desync thanks to running on 333 ms, causing you getting shot while already being behind cover. This was a problem with Embark Studios in the finals and it seems like they didn't learn anything from it. Competitive players are already reporting the issue and struggling to have fun in endgame PvP. Yes, of course, you could have experienced this in Delta Force too, but it was way less often and way less obvious as in Arc Raiders.
I died again behind the...
The guns in Arc Raiders feel more clankier, but that was intended, and I got very quickly used to how the gunfights feel. And with each raider having the same possibilities of mobility opposed to Delta Force, where every operator is different, it feels more balanced and rewarding when you move properly. In Delta you have to take into account many things, such as opponent's weapon, bullets, gear, utilities, abilities and positioning, which is a lot to think about, mainly for casual players. The overall mobility also feels more realistic in Arc Raiders, but it offers also more freedom with items such as snap hook or zipline. I mean, you can vault in Delta Force, but can you dodge roll after a big jump to mitigate the damage to your ankles? Yeah, I bet that looks cool. So overall, Delta nails the precision and reward of gunfights, while Arc Raiders feels more visual and cinematic. Two different flavors of fun. My specs? Average. RTX 3070, 32GB of RAM and Intel i7 10700F with 2K monitor. Delta Force is running everything on low with max field of view with 120 to 140 FPS. Arc Raiders offering stunning visuals, I'm keeping everything apart from shadows on high or epic and getting 80 to 100 FPS. Which is insane considering how much more is in each of the map, the amount of textures, players, destroyable or climbable objects and weather possibilities. All while streaming, in both. One of the issues Delta currently has is frame drops and freezes mainly on Zero Dam. I was experiencing frame drops all the way to 60-80 with freezes for 2 to 3 seconds when killing opponent, and with quick search, there was hundreds of people having the same issues. On top of that, in the last season new bug appeared where the audio kept buzzing after shots or abilities and you were not able to hear anything apart from that irritating noise. Embark are known for being masters of Unreal Engine 5, and to put it in numbers, the game is only 33GB for now, while Delta Force having way smaller maps with less interactable objectives and way lower quality of visuals is sitting on whopping 110GB. Imagine the game looking like this while having performance and bugless experience like no game before. When it comes to audio, I have to separate it to two different segments, the ambience audio and the PvP audio. No one will argue with me when I say that Arc Raiders are strong contendant for getting rewards for best game audio. I never felt anything similar even when playing horror games or story games.
Cool.
The sound will suck you into the world and refuse to let you out even for a split second. Gunshot sounds, ambience audio, interaction sounds, differentiality of levels in buildings and in open areas. It's breathtaking. On the other hand, many are agreeing that PvP audio is hardly recognizable, but it's understandable. With all what is happening around you, sounds of someone calling an elevator, Rocketeer shooting down some unlucky guy, you breaching into a big metal loot box, the steps of your enemies will be hardly recognizable, unless you stay still and pay attention to that. But how many times you got surprised in real life by someone behind you just because you were paying attention to something else? Looking at that sneaky girlfriends coming in our backs. Also, there is already an option in Arc Raiders to set audio for night mode, where steps and player interactions are already easier to hear. So yeah, Arc's audio isn't perfect for competitive play, but for immersion, it's unmatched. Arc Raiders being one of the most expected extraction shooter game hit all-time high over 460k players on Steam, and that is not counting console players. Delta Force is hovering around 180k active players, also not counting the Garena version and console players. With all of issues in current season, they are still doing very well. What differs the games is being able after a hard day in work to hop in for a couple raids, not needing to match the schedule with your buddies without having to contest the sweatlords and cheaters which comes in shooter games. That is the current trouble for Delta Force. But is Arc Raiders going to be any different? Reason why many extraction shooters failed, reason why Delta feels unplayable on PC past seasons, is that you have guys wiping whole lobby with aimbots not being recognized by anti-cheat. With it being a free game, worst case scenario, after ban it takes couple minutes to get level 30 account and continue stomping other players on space or prison. Also, how many gear compensations you guys got last season or two? I have got 7 with over 100 cheater reports in 2 seasons. But for sure, with that big player base, ARC raiders must be struggling with this issue already too, am I right? Well, not really. I would be lying if I said that there will never be cheaters in ARC raiders, but having roughly 90 hours grand total so far, I failed only once that I got killed by a guy with a wallhack. I did the research and so far I was able to find only a couple of people experiencing cheaters. On the other hand, Embark is dealing with them pretty fast and the compensations? Smooth. Check this picture. Guns, ammo, armor, heals, everything you had on you while you died. Compare it to Delta. You get ruined armor back, no heals or ammo, and that's only an if the cheater gets banned for 10 years and extracted with your stuff. Honestly, if gear compensations looked like this and were frequent and fast as in ARC raiders, cheaters and Delta Force wouldn't be that big of synonym. I'm putting way more trust and hope in Embark Studio to deal with this lifelong problem of extraction shooters. When it comes to quality of life, once again, Delta feels smoother in most of the stuff. Navigation through the stash, auction house, buying stuff, seeing what is important and what is not, feels easy. Having the possibility of saving your favorite loadout and after dying, just clicking one button to rebuy it whole and queue again feels great. As opposed, in ARC raiders you either go again with free loadout by 2 clicks, or you have to craft everything from your stash one by one, while the stash keeps bopping back to the top after every click. But these are quality of life changes which I am sure sooner or later will be introduced to the game itself, with developers already stating they are looking into making the menu's navigation way smoother. Yeah, I love ARC raiders, but clicking 30 times just to grab my loadout makes me feel like I'm doing office work. And for the last point, one of the most controversial differentiality between Delta Force and ARC raiders is the perspective itself. I mean, I was one of the guys who was saying since the start that I hate third-person shooters, and I can't imagine myself playing one, and yet, here we are. What changed? Well, the third person is actually an important aspect of ARC raiders because of the immersion and intensity. Being able to see yourself slide, vault, zipline, reload, fight the arcs, communicate with or fight another players in the heat of the moment is something which I dare to say you wouldn't enjoy that much in first person. I mean, imagine trying to shoot down bots rotating above your head in first person. That would definitely look funny. Loads of people are speaking about all of the cons of third person, mainly the biggest one, angle holders. People licking the walls while seeing you approaching, being ready to jump you when opportunity arises. Yes, sounds like a big issue for a game with PvP and gear loss included. But let me ask you a question. How often you die in Delta Force to reds, to angle holders, to people sitting in weirdest spots possible, getting shot from behind by someone who was patiently waiting for you to come for minutes? Do you think if Delta Force was third person that it would be any worse or better? You would still meet the same people crouching behind a table, hiding in bushes or camping your extract on some weird spot. Doesn't matter the perspective you used in game. With that being said, as much as I hated the third person, now I can't imagine ARC raiders being different. So what you should play in 2025 as a guy craving some extraction shooter action? The answer would never be simple. Game catering to everyone is game catering to no one. Delta and ARC raiders have their similarities and their differentialities. Delta gives you intensity, ARC raiders gives you immersion. It depends what you value more. If you are more competitive, maybe looking for mobile gameplay, want a free-to-play game, Delta is perfect choice for you if we overlook the grand amount of cheaters currently in game. And if developers will battle the cheaters together with the FPS and audio issues and continue their good and hard work towards events, maps and balance changes, it will be one of the best games in the genre. But if you are more casual type of player who loves being immersed in the world he is playing in, if you don't need to be the best of the best and you would rather have fun encounters, create friendships, laugh at your fails, indulge in actual solo lobbies while being amazed by the map designs and the performance the game is offering you, the choice is clear. Yes, it's €40, but for a potential game of the year, bargain. With that being said, I'm not saying goodbye to Delta Force forever, more like a current farewell. But I really hope some of you will find your way to my content in future, be it Argraders, Delta Force or anything else. I truly enjoyed my journey in Delta, and I hope that Season 7 would be a big change for where the game is heading. Don't forget to like the video, as this took a large amount of time to create, and let me know in comments what game you will be playing. You know I love to reply to each of you. Love you all, enjoy whatever game you are currently playing and stay being handsome. Your Grindr.